From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Zamfara state government directs residents to obtain guns against bandits. Troops raid IPOB camp, recover arms and ammunition. Sheikh of Borno asked INEC to conduct credible elections in 2023. Away from Nigeria, Ecuador lifts emergency, begins talks with indigenous protesters. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Beginning with security matters, worried by worsening security situation in Zamfara state with increased bandits attack, the state government has directed residents to obtain guns and defend themselves against the terrorists as part of drastic measure to address the problem. A statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, said government has directed the State Commissioner of Police to issue license to all those who qualify and are wishing to obtain such guns to defend themselves. He said government has requested the State House of Assembly to pass as a matter of urgency the Informants Bill before it to enable it to take the drastic measures on informants as contained in the bill. The statement also said that the government has ordered for the recruitment of 200 additional community protection guards in each of the 19 emirates of the state, making it 500 per emirate, to increase their manpower and strengthening its force and the capacity to deal with the terrorists. The statement explained that in view of the deteriorating security situation, markets and filling stations in Safi and Yendoto Emirate are closed indefinitely. Riding motorcycle is also banned, the statement added. Now, earlier, the State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, in a telephone interview, gives reasons why the state government resorted to these drastic measures.
The measures taken is to give further protection to lives and property of people, and those to obtain or possess a gun are those who have been screened at the emirate councils and found worthy, good character and behavior, and people without criminal records who will fill form that will be forwarded to the Inspector General of Police, through the State Commissioner for Police for proper screening and consideration by the Inspector General of Police. You know, it is not a mandatory. We said whoever wishes to obtain the gun will do that. It's not that everybody must own the gun. That is not what the government means. But whoever wishes to take the gun or possess the gun and has the capacity to do so, we have process that will be followed. And the people who qualified through the process will be given or will be allowed to obtain the gun. We have been taking measures. If you could recall, at the early stage of this government, it went into dialogue with the bandits. Many of them accepted, and there was peace in Zamfara state for over 9 months. Nobody was harmed, nobody was inflicted any injury because there was peace. But somewhere along the line, some people scuttled that success by causing mayhem, making some of the bandits to abandon the dialogue, restoring back some of the activities of the bandits. And the government further took other measures. If you could recall, we shut down communication, also banned vehicular movement, we banned or we closed markets, and that measure has also helped greatly by reducing the level of mayhem being inflicted by the bandits. And now we are trying another means of curtailing the banditry activities through this measure, which we said people should possess guns and defend themselves. Now, we decided to do this because of very recently, about a month ago, we noticed a kind of escalation or increase in the activities of the bandits, which we feel should be attacked and curtailed. And this is why we embarked on the measure we are on.
Similarly, a security consultant, Kabiru Adamu, in an earlier interview, shared his perspective on whether or not the decision can effectively address the security situation in the state.
As far as I know, several states in the Federation have attempted that. Some of them made it public, while others did not make it public. What they did is they just went ahead and sought some kind of probably backdoor arrangements between them and either the Inspector General of Police to acquire weapons for the type of state-level security structures they have. What comes to my mind immediately is almost all the southern states. If you go to Anambra, Imo, name them, you would see state-level arrangements and they're all armed. Then in the north, if you go to Benue State, and I think Taraba State, the state-level security structures, as well as Borno State and Adamawa, you see them with weapons. So this is not new in a sense. It's new because, of course, Zamfara State is bringing it up. And in fact, even in Zamfara State, if we go back to under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, there was a time when the state government attempted to procure weapons and it was blocked by them. So the question is, if other states have done it, what effect have we seen in terms of reduction of security challenges within the states? Frankly, not much. And the simple reason is because the Weapons Act currently that is in place only allows simple mechanism weapons, such as the pump action weapon or the rifle, to be procured by either individuals or other non-state actors, under which the state-level security structures fall into. And the non-state actors that are attacking these communities, for which the Zamfara state government wants to defend, have weapons of bigger capacity. The least they have are AK-47, and some of them, in fact, even use RPGs to attack. So in this context, what the Zamfara state government is attempting to do is to ask communities to use basic weapons to defend themselves from attackers that have these very military-grade weapons. And so I do not think, beyond perhaps serving a political purpose, this act is going to really limit or stop the type of occurrences that we're seeing in Zamfara state. If we look at the bigger picture, what does this entail for the Nigerian state? Yes, it's an invitation to some kind of anarchy where we're going back to the Hobbesian state of existence. The stronger kind of person would have his say, more or less. We are all students of that, and we know what the consequences of a Hobbesian state of existence would augur for Nigeria. So, in a nutshell, this measure by the Zamfara state government, yes, it may appear it is good in the first instance, but in the long run, it would unfortunately bring in wars, even though I must say it has indicated that it would regulate the acquisition of weapons, that is going to give forms to communities, and the communities will fill those forms, and those forms will be submitted to the Inspector General of Police. And it is only when the Inspector General of Police approves this licensing that the weapons will be acquired for this community. So there is some form of structure. But yes, in the long run, like we all know in Nigeria, that structure is likely to be abused, and unfortunately, it would lead to an open acquisition, as it were, of weapons. So
what would you say
in my
is
honest
the best
opinion,
approach
it is
for
not
this,
the best way to go. The reality is that the responsibility for the protection of communities lies with especially the federal government. And looking at the bigger picture, I am of the view that the federal government needs to come out with a framework to guide the state acquisition of not just weapons, but for the security structure within the states. We have states doing different things, and unfortunately, there is no harmonization efforts by those states. So a framework by the federal government that has responsibility for that security, I think it would be a better way to go to handle this issue.
Meanwhile, residents of Mada community in Gusau local government area of Zamfara state have been sacked by suspected terrorists who launched an attack on the community. Sources from the community said residents of the troubled communities have fled as a result of the incessant terrorist attacks, which resulted in killing, abduction and rustling of cattle. The locals said that terrorists invaded the villages at about 5 p.m. firing sporadic gunshots at residents and abducted 3 persons in the process. The villages attacked by the terrorists were Gidang Bangi and Ruangbore at Mada district of Gusau local government area. Efforts to get the state police public relations officer, Superintendent Muhammad Shehu, to confirm the incident was not successful as he did not respond to calls or text messages sent to him. And now, away from security, the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Garbai, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct free and credible election 2023. He also urged the political parties to conduct themselves cordially ahead of the polls. The royal father made the call when he received civil society groups in his Maiduguri palace. He called on religious leaders and traditional heads in communities to support the campaign of peace and reconciliation as repentant terrorists are being integrated back to the communities.
You know, election is something very sensitive. It has to be a fair and free elections. If the election is fair and free, there will be no problem. And I'm sure, inshallah, we're going to conduct a fair election. If there's anything bad somewhere, then this is how the trouble comes. Enlightening them, educating them, and begging them to enlighten their subjects, you see, so that they maintain peace. Now, we thank Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that peace has been maintained. Our state is now okay compared to other sister states. So inshallah will maintain.
The reintegration is what have brought about everything. People have been affected, people have been abused, people have been brutalized, people have lost everything. And then now, these boys also are our own. They have repented and are coming back. Where do we throw them? Our people have a saying which says, when your hand gets infected, can you cut it and throw it away? No way. But then you have to plan a way in which everybody will be accommodated, everybody will be sensitized to understand, and then bring in his perspective so that these repentance and others, with the community views and perspective, how will they be accepted back is very, very key.
The Nigerian Army on Sunday said joint operatives comprising 302 Regiment, Navy, DSS and police have cleared a camp belonging to the indigenous people of Biafra and Eastern Security Network at Idara, Nebo, Ihe, Mbosi villages and Ukpo in Newi South local government area of Anambra State. Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, Director, Army Public Relations, in a statement said that the troops recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 3 magazines with 5 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, 2 pump-action rifles, and 1 locally fabricated gun, 3 power generators, among others. Similarly, troops of 103 Battalion conducted a raid operation on IPOP ESN camp at Nkwere in Inyi Forest in Oji River local government area of Enugu State, forcing the criminals to flee in disarray. It said that the troops recovered 1 Lexus and a Toyota Highlander SUV suspected to have been snatched by the criminals. They also recovered 2 motorcycles, 1 double-barrel gun, and 7 live cartridges. The statement enjoined members of the public to continue to provide useful and credible information on the activities of the criminal elements in the region. A Catholic priest identified as Reverend Father Ossia has been abducted in a Caprico community in Asaku West local government area of Edo State on Sunday. The priest is said to be preparing for Sunday Mass when gunmen stormed his residence and whisked him away. The traditional ruler of the community, Brahma Alege, who confirmed the development, said that efforts were ongoing to get the priest released. He said that the police and the army, in collaboration with the local vigilante, are combing the bush to ensure his release. As at the time of filing this report, Edo State Command Public Relations Officer SP Chidi Nwabo is yet to respond. Meanwhile, 2 suspected armed robbers have been killed in a shootout with the police in Benin City, capital of Edo State. The command's spokesperson confirmed the incident, saying other members of the gang escaped with injuries. The suspects were said to have robbed a filling station in Benin Metropolis on Sunday morning before heading for another location where the police engaged them in a duel. The abducted parish priest of St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Gidam Maikambo, Father Stephen Ojapa, and his assistant, Father Oliver Okpara, and 2 other persons from Kafru local government area of Katsina State have regained freedom. Director, Social Communication, Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Father Chris Omotosho, made this known in a statement. He said that the clergymen who were abducted by gunmen at midnight of 25th of May have all regained freedom. The statement quotes Father Chris Omotosho as thanking faithfuls for their prayers, support, encouragement, and show of love during the trial period. The Director of Social Communication, Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, did not, however, mention in the statement whether a ransom was paid to secure the freedom of the 4 victims or not. In a similar vein, the chaplain of the Catholic Church in Kaduna Polytechnic, Vitus Borogo, has been killed in an attack by bandits. According to the church's chancellor, Christian Okeu Emmanuel, Borogo was killed at the prison farm Kujama along Kaduna-Kachia Road on Saturday. Until his death, Father Vitus, aged 50, was the chaplain of the Catholic community of Kaduna State Polytechnic and the chairman of the Nigerian Catholic Diocesan Priest Association, Kaduna chapter. Most Reverend Matthew Manoso Ndagoso, the Catholic Archbishop of Kaduna, condoles with the immediate family, the NFCS family of Kaduna Polytechnic, and indeed the entire Kaduna Polytechnic community, and assures them of his fraternal closeness and prayers. Governor of Oyo State, Sheikh Makinde, has approved the recruitment of additional 500 personnel into the state Western Nigeria Security Network, codenamed Amoteku. A statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Wasiu Olatunbosun, on Sunday in Ibadan, said that Makinde announced the approval during the monthly security meeting with chairmen of local governments, heads of security agencies, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders in the state. The governor said recruiting new personnel will enhance Amoteku's performance and further deepen the security architecture of the state. A former governor of the state, Rashid Ladoja, commended Makinde for being proactive in the area of security, which has greatly helped the state. Ladoja urged all stakeholders and members of the public to be vigilant and ensure safety of their lives. The Nasarawa State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has arrested no fewer than 240 suspected drug traffickers in the state. The narcotics commander of the agency, Peter Onche Odaudu, who revealed this at the grand finale of the 2022 United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking in Lafia, the state capital, said that the command seized about 251 kilograms of illicit drugs in the state. The report.
NDLEA boss said out of the total numbers of drug suspects apprehended from January to June 20th, 2022, 235 were males, while 5 were females. Speaking on this year's theme, addressing drug challenges in health and humanitarian crises, the commander revealed that the command successfully prosecuted and secured 37 convictions of the defendants before the Federal High Court, noting that many cases are ongoing at various stages of trials.
As you're already aware, June 26th of every year has been set aside by the United Nations for all member nations to commemorate the UN Drug Day. The essence, which is to afford all countries an opportunity to appraise their counter-narcotic efforts in the past year. This appraisal will then reveal the weak areas that need to be improved upon and the areas of strength that must be sustained.
Odudu appreciated the Chief Executive Officer of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa retired, for the engineering of the agency, adding that its infectious optimism and leadership style has restored dignity.
Given the position of Nasarawa State as having the second highest drug prevalence rate in the north-central geopolitical zone, only behind Kwara State, there is a heightened urgency for a concerted effort from all and sundry if the rampaging drug monster is to be tamed.
In his goodwill message, Governor Abdullahi Sule, represented by his Senior Special Assistant on Primary Health Care, Mrs. Margaret Elayo, cautioned youths across the state to desist from drugs and illicit trafficking of drugs, appealing to them not to indulge in anything inimical to their future and face the studies squarely.
His Excellency is aware, and I can assure you that he is keen into your ideas on how we will solve the problem of the state. Because as much as it affects every one of us, the whole idea is to have a great man like yours to be here and to be fighting for this cause.
Earlier, Zonal Commander, NDLEA Zone D, Mr. Umoru Ambrose, hinted that the zone seized a total of 3,874.03 kilograms of various narcotics and psychotropic substances from 774 drug suspects within the period of January to June 2022, stating that 2 locally made pistols were recovered by officers and men of the Benue State Command of the zone in the process of operation.
To call on the general public, traditional rulers, corporate bodies, non-governmental organizations, prominent individuals in the zone, educational institutions, the media, to get actively involved in curbing the menace of drugs in our various states. This will ultimately help in addressing the already health challenges and humanitarian crises in our nation and indeed across the world.
In a similar vein, a Brazilian returnee, Iguedum Uche Benson, has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at the arrival hall of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, with pellets of cocaine concealed in his private part. Iguedum was nabbed at the Lagos airport on Monday, 20th of June, upon his arrival on Ethiopian Airlines from Sao Paulo, Brazil, via Addis Ababa. This report brings us an update of the activities of the NDLEA in the week just ended.
Preliminary investigations revealed the suspect had swallowed 50 wraps of cocaine before departing Brazil and excreted 48 pellets in Addis Ababa, where he handed them over to another person. He, however, claimed he was unable to excrete the remaining 2 wraps at the hotel room in Addis Ababa before boarding his flight, but later excreted them in the aircraft during the flight from Ethiopia to Lagos. The NDLEA on Saturday night arrested a drug kingpin, Onyekachi Chukwuma MacDonald, who was behind attempts to export 40 parcels of methamphetamine, popularly called Mpurummiri locally, to London through the narco export shed of the Lagos airport. Onyekachi was arrested at Manokola Estate, Alukoko area of Lagos, at the weekend, 3 weeks after his Mpurummiri consignment weighing 2.05 kilograms was intercepted at the airport and his freight agent, Peter Christopher Anikon, arrested on 7 June. Similarly, The NDLEA seized another consignment of 2 kilograms Mpurummiri at a courier house in Owerri, Imo State. The cargo seized on Wednesday, 22nd June, had Ankara and lace fabrics in which 2 cylindrical cellophanes containing the drug heading to Hong Kong were concealed. Also, at the Lagos airport, NDLEA operatives on Friday, 24th June, intercepted 500,000 tablets of tramadol 225 milligram packed in 10 cartons and labeled Trauma King, imported from Karachi, Pakistan on Emirates Airline. The consignment, weighing 407.60 kilograms, was seized during a joint examination with customs and NAFDAC officials. On the same day, a Dubai, UAE-bound passenger, Alegbeleye Taiwo, was arrested at the departure hall of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport with 40 ampoules of pentazocine injection. Meanwhile, 2 kingpins behind the importation of 2 recent draw consignments from Canada, concealed in vehicle containers through the Tinkan Seaport in Apapa, Lagos, have been arrested by NDLEA operatives. One of them, Boyega Ayola Eligbeji, was arrested at his house in Lagos on Wednesday, 22nd June, for importing a 40-feet container containing 33 parcels of cannabis indica, also known as Colorado, weighing 16.5 kilograms. The second suspect, Sunday Joe Oyebola, was arrested on Thursday, 23rd June. Chairman, Chief Executive of NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired. In a statement signed by the Director Media and Advocacy, Femi Baba Femi, commended the officers and men of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Tin Can Seaport, and Imo State Command of the agency for the drug seizures and arrests, and urged them to remain focused in the task of ridding the nation of illegal drugs.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up after the break, we find out, is bread no longer on the menu? Details and more shortly. Join us again.
Times have passed, and with it so many things that once were our visual delights. Technological advancement has brought about tremendous changes in the way and manner media deliver content to its audience.
As it continues to reposition itself to serve you much better, Media Trust Limited is rebranding its logo and visual identity to reflect our current vision and futuristic drive.
We have spread our tentacles beyond the pages of the newspaper to the digital space. The new logos and visual identities reflect the new scope of our multimedia reach.
Even with this development, however, we will continue to remain with you as we have always remained, committed to our founding philosophy, which is based on trust, integrity, openness, and courage.
The new logo, which is a marriage of a revolving globe and a mobile device, signifies the unlimited reach of our content on the digital space.
We are always the backbone of operations as we do our best to deliver content that suits your needs.
When you see a new trust title or platform in the next few days, therefore, do not be alarmed.
We remain committed to you and will continue to serve you through fair and responsible journalism.
Thanks for staying. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Zamfara State Government directs residents to obtain guns against bandits. Troops raid IPOB camp, recover arms and ammunition. In other news, the Nigerian Immigration Service on Sunday confirmed the age of the supposed organ donor to daughter of Ike Ekweremadu, David Nwanini, as 21, contradicting the claims of prosecutors in London. Immigration Service Controller General Isa Idris, in a Zoom briefing with journalists, said Nwanini applied for his international passport, which was issued after thorough checks by the passport issuing agency. He said the documents provided by Nwanini from the National Population Commission and the National Identity Management Commission gave his date of birth as October 12, 2000, adding that Nwanini was captured for the international passport on November 2nd, 2021 at the Gwagwalada office of the agency. According to Idris, neither the Metropolitan Police, who charged the senator to court, nor the senator himself has contacted the NIS since the case went public. The London Metropolitan Police on Thursday charged former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and wife Beatrice Ekweremadu for allegedly trafficking Mr. Nwanini with the aim of harvesting his kidney. The trial of the Ekweremadus continues July 7th in the UK. Women have been urged to come out en masse and participate in the continuous voter registration with a view to preparing themselves to exercise their civic rights in the 2023 general elections. The APC National Women Leader, Dr. Betta Edu, made the call during the flag-off of the women empowerment of 700 women farmers and petty traders in Maradun local government area of Zamfara State with cash to improve their farming activities and businesses. The report.
The APC National Women Leader, Dr. Betta Edu, said she is in Zamfara State to flag off the women wing of the party National Women Empowerment Program, aimed at making women financially stable and independent. She said the APC Women Wing and the APC-led government are committed to keeping its social contract with the Nigerian women. Dr. Edu disclosed that the APC Women Wing mission, which it must accomplish, is to ensure women are empowered financially and politically. 200 women farmers were empowered with 100,000 naira each, while more than 500 petty traders received 20,000 naira each to boost farming activities and businesses towards ensuring that women are pulled out of abject poverty.
First, the APC Women's Wing, as well as the APC government, is committed to keeping its social contract with the Nigerian woman. Our own aim, our own passion, our mission, which we must accomplish, is to ensure that all Nigerian women are empowered financially, they're empowered politically, we are mainstreamed and given a seat on the table. We have flagged off this empowerment, empowering 200 farmers, above 500 petty traders, to ensure that they can improve on their businesses and become more financially stable.
Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State, in his remarks, promised that the state will ensure victory for the APC in the 2023 general elections. He observed that the reconciliation between the warring factions in the party had brought formidable politicians together under a united platform, which is one of the greatest factors that would be responsible for APC's success in the state. He praised the APC National Women Leader, Dr. Betta Edu, for choosing Zamfara State to flag off the APC National Women Empowerment Program, assuring that the women in the state will not fail the party.
In Zamfara State, we don't know anything like vote back. We don't know vote back. We vote in compassionate. We vote because of the reality, not because of money. No. Zamfara, we are out of that business. Therefore, you shall expect 99% of the vote of total population of Zamfara State to this. We are very grateful for this gesture. In fact, you're supposed to be part of us. is supposed to get an indigenship of the state.
Thank you, sir.
Because if you can decide to leave your region to come to our state in the corners to come and make your empowerment without looking for anything. You are just a woman leader of the party, and I know this is your first time of coming to this area. But look at you, look at what you brought for us.
The APC National Women Leader appealed to women to file out to participate in the ongoing voters' registration to get their PVC ready to vote APC and ensure the party wins the 2023 general election with a landslide. The beneficiaries of the financial empowerment were drawn from the 14 local government areas of Zamfara State, while the program is expected to be taken to women in other states of the Federation.
Ahead of the July 16th Osun governorship election, Nigeria's two dominant political parties, APC and the PDP, are flexing muscles to claim ownership of the state's electoral space. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that while the 1.6 million registered voters will decide who runs the affairs of the state after the governorship election, a competition between money bags and political strategists will most likely determine the outcome of the election. The report.
Candidate of the main opposition party in the 2022 Osun governorship race, Ademola Adeleke, has reportedly alluded to the fact that he would edge out the incumbent on account of his spending not only Nigerian currency but foreign currencies to realize his ambition.
He said he is not only Naira, it involves dollars, pounds, euros, and is going to be fire for fire.
Responding to this outburst, co-chairman of the APC Osun Governorship Campaign Council, Abdullahi Ganduje, says the ruling party is ready to match the money bag posture of the PDP in Osun State with what he called strategy bags.
When we have strategic bags against money bags, and strategy is more important than money.
Notwithstanding the fact that there are 15 candidates in the Osun 2022 election, the governorship race is touted to be a two-horse race between the two dominant political parties, though both are facing internal party crisis. The Osun State governorship election, scheduled to hold in 332 wards of the 30 local government areas of the state, is coming at a time stakeholders in Nigeria's electoral process are raising concerns over the rising influence of money politics in the country. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the meantime, Osun State Muslim community has appealed to residents of the state to conduct themselves peacefully before, during and after the forthcoming governorship election in the state. President of Osun State Muslim community, Mustafa Olawi, made the appeal during a press conference in Osogbo, the state capital. Olawi warned politicians in the state to shun vote buying, violence, and any act capable of threatening the peace of the state during the election period. Hamid Wegbade reports that the president also called on residents to collect their permanent voter cards and vote for candidates of their choice during the election.
Without taking your PVC, then you are nothing. You don't have the power. You don't have a recharge card you want to phone, you can never phone. So you have to take your PVC. The government is so magnanimous that they have increased the number of days that you can go and register. And those that are already being printed and not being collected, go back and collect your PVC. Don't do that alone. Go on the day of election, go and vote for whoever is your own choice. That is, then you are exercising your franchise, so that you cannot say, I'm not part of this system, you are part of this system. You have to make sure. And we want to appeal to politicians. Vote buying is evil. It's bad. It's unfortunate, especially in this country, that we turn, it's a way of turning, judges upside down. You coerce people when you give him or her money to vote for you. It's not having a free mind to do it again. And that destroys the nation. You put people that are not fit into government and nothing goes on. and we continue to fight one another. So we want to appeal to them to stop, giving money for people to vote for them. 2, they do not use thug. Thugism and rancor is not our own culture here. They should not embark on employing youths to cause mayhem on the day of election, before on the day and after the election.
Still talking elections, as part of efforts towards ensuring that the right leaders emerge in the 2023 general elections, different groups have been engaging in a series of activities that will help achieve the goal. One of such activities is a special Quranic recitation session and prayers in order to seek Allah's intervention in the area of granting Nigeria good leaders in the forthcoming 2023 general elections. It was organized by women and children in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. Salis Lawan reports.
This is the beginning of the recitation of the complete 114 chapters of the Holy Quran, as well as several prayers. The recitation of the Quran is made as a form of supplication, seeking God's intervention for free, fair and peaceful conduct of the 2023 general election. The women who converge at an Islamia school explain that whenever there has been conflict, women and children have been known to suffer disproportionately during and after war, hence the need for the prayers. Organizer of the prayers, Zulay Musa, said the prayers may not be unconnected with the recent spike in kidnapping for ransom, among other security challenges facing the country. Zulay stressed that more than ever before, Nigeria needs God to bless the country with leaders who will better the lives of citizens and tackle the insecurity.
We
organized this prayer as a form of supplication to seek Allah's intervention, because mostly we the women and our children suffers the most in conflict. That is why we deemed it fit to organize the prayers for God to help us select the right leaders for Nigeria in the forthcoming 2023 election.
Women and children are often the most vulnerable and prone to being hit the hardest in conflict. They are hopeful that this prayer will help reduce the impact of violent conflicts on them. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Now, planned nationwide strike by Bakers Association of Nigeria because of rising prices of essential commodities and other ingredients used in making bread and snacks is a source of worry to bread consumers in Bauchi State. Residents urged all stakeholders and the government to find a way out to avoid pushing the masses into more hardship. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Bread is a staple food for both rich and the poor, but rising price of bread is something that is giving the poor a nightmare. When Bakers Association contemplated strike over rising cost of production, many said more hardship will be inflicted on the poor. Salis Bala, Mustafa Musa both reside in Bauchi, and the Du said price of bread has increased, but quantity and quality remain the same.
Prices of generally essential commodities is becoming unbecoming, not only the bread, but coming to bread in particular. If we consider that bread before as a common food meal by ordinary Nigerians. But recently, due to the price increase on daily basis, it's becoming unbecoming. Take for instance for me that the bread that I'm buying at the cost of 500 naira, now they are selling it at the cost of 700 naira.
They increase the price, but no quality. It's good in business to maintain quality products. for customer satisfaction, but it's still like foam, most of the breads here in Bauchi. For Nasiru Ibrahim and Isa Hassan, bread is one of the fastest food that people can eat at all time, especially during breakfast. According to them, Nigerian masses are in trouble if bread and snacks become delicacy only for the rich.
Because bread, it is something that people normally take as a breakfast in Nigeria. And of recent, the price has been hiked because the bread that we used to buy 500 naira, it is now 700 naira. Or let me even go to some years back. The bread used to be 350, but now it is now 700 naira. So if you look at it, it's not good. But the issue of them going on strike, is highly unfortunate because if they go on strike, life will become more difficult because, bread, like I've earlier said, is one of the things that we use for breakfast.
In general, I think 3 days ago, I bought a measure of flour for 900 naira. So, in a way, you cannot blame the bakers because they buy this thing at a very high cost. But honestly, I think the federal government should do something and ensure that flour is made available and the price should also go down.
Meanwhile, some of the bakers in Bauchi say the fault is not theirs, calling on the government to address issues around inflation.
There is ongoing rumors they say we are going to embark on strike. It's true. It's not a rumor. It's true that we are going to preferring to engage in strike because the issue of inflation or the issue of price increase of materials, raw materials, the product we are using in the production of bread is rising at the rate of, what should I call it, the rate is at the highest level. So we don't want that to happen. That is why we are trying to see we do something that at least call the attention of government to take some action so that we can all benefit from it.
Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
We'll now take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Stay with us.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Now, the federal government has confirmed the invasion of swarm birds and locusts destroying farm produce in 3 northern states. The affected states are Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara. The Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, Dr. Maimuna Habibu, on Saturday disclosed this, adding that the reported cases of locust invasion were particularly recorded in Zamfara and Kebbi State. Dr. Habibu said that the ministry has already deployed officers to begin aerial attacks against the locust in the affected state. She said that the federal government's action followed complaints of destruction of crops from farmers in the affected states. Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Muhammad Bello, has expressed satisfaction with the renewed enforcement activities of the FCT Task Force on City Sanitation. Bello, in a statement on Sunday in Abuja, said the activities of the task force were aimed at ensuring that the restoration and maintenance of sanity in Abuja, the nation's capital. The minister spoke during an interface with the heads of enforcement-related departments in FCTA, affiliate operational commander and field commanders from various security agencies involved in enforcement activities in the FCT. Also, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Sunday Babaji, reassured the minister that the police and other security agencies involved in the enforcement drive will not relent on working towards maintaining the sanctity of the territory. He, however, appealed to the FCT administration to continue to support them to keep the tempo. Ikaruata, Senior Special Assistant on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement of the FCT Minister, appealed to the Minister and other stakeholders to sustain the support. And now, away from Nigeria, at least 22 people between the ages of 10 and 20 have been found dead at a nightclub in a township in South Africa's southern city of East London. Spokesperson for the Eastern Cape Provincial Health Department, Sianda Manana, said on Sunday that the bodies will be transported to state mortuaries and immediate autopsies will be carried out to know the probable cause of the death. Brigadier Tembinkosi Kinana said that police were alerted by the members of the public to the incident scene at Scenery Park, about 3 kilometers from the city center. Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso has lifted a state of emergency imposed in 6 provinces amid mass protest by indigenous groups as legislators began hearing an opposition motion to remove him from office. Lasso's decision on Saturday followed the first official talks between government officials and Ecuador's largest indigenous organization, which began the protest 2 weeks ago to demand gasoline prices be cut, price controls be imposed on agricultural products, and a larger budget be set for education. The meeting, held in the Basilica Church in the Colonial Center of Quito, and was attended by Minister of Government Francisco Jimenez, Foreign Minister Juan Carlos Holguin, President of the Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador, Leonidas Iza, and other social leaders. After the talks, Lasso eased the security measures as requested by the indigenous leaders. The indigenous groups say that they will partially open roadblocks during protest to allow food into the capital, where residents have complained of low supplies but will remain in Quito until they get a satisfactory answer from Lasso. President Muhammadu Buhari Sunday afternoon returned to Abuja after attending the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. The president, who traveled on Wednesday, June 22nd, arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, where he was received by senior government officials. While in Kigali, President Buhari attended the official opening ceremony on June 24th, followed by high-level meetings of heads of state and government on Friday 24th and Saturday 25th of June. He also held high-level bilateral discussions with other Commonwealth leaders, including the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and met with Nigerians living in Rwanda. And the League Management Company has expelled Kano Pillars chairman Surajo Yahaya Jambo over the role he played in the recent match between his club and Dakada FC. Kano Pillars was also slammed for breaching the 2022 Nigeria Professional Football League MPFL framework and rules during the match with Dakada on June 23, 2022. According to LMC, Kano Pillars failed to control their officials and ensure proper conduct, which resulted in the assault of a match official, and have been fined 1 million naira for the misconduct, another 1 million naira for the assault on a match official, and 250,000 being compensation for the assaulted match official. The club are to follow up on the arrest of the offending official to ensure his full prosecution in furtherance of the police report lodged by the match officials on June 23, 2022. Kano Pillars will also forfeit 2 points from the ones accrued to them and face additional sanctions deemed appropriate in the event of further breach of the league rules regarding the assault of match officials. And that's a wrap on the News Hour on Trust Television. Remember, you can always watch more via all our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch more. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.